Hello everyone, this is Altar, and this segment is here to let you know that after about a year of producing content for Offworld Trading Company, Mohawk Games contracted me out to do some QA consulting work for them. This video was made during the time that contract was active. Thank you for listening, please enjoy the video. Hello everyone, this is Altar, and welcome to another Offworld Trading Company tutorial. Today's episode will be Adjacency and You. If you've been following the tutorials, we've finally covered what we need to for you to be able to start a game of Offworld Trading Company. Now we're going to start talking about what to do once you're actually in one. In most games, the first thing you'll want to do once you get on the board is start collecting the basic materials you'll need to upgrade. That's going to be 1 high iron mine and 2 steel mills for robotics and expansives, 3 steel mills for scientists, and 2 carbon quarries and 1 aluminum mine for scavengers. There are variations you can do on this play, and they may be beneficial depending on that game's particular market. Ignore these for now. We're going to keep things very simple for the time being. The reason you want to establish upgrade resources immediately is they are the only resources in the game with a guaranteed value. They will always give you access to more claims. More claims means more buildings, more production, more upgrades, more claims. You get where we're going with this. Soon after you've established your initial production, you'll be able to upgrade. On standard difficulty, you'll get between 3 and 5 claims. You'll also notice, unless playing as a robot, that you've started gaining debt, as you now have a large enough population at your headquarters that you need to pay life support. The numbers are very red and very concerning, plus you're losing all kinds of money. So the first thing you'll want to do is get a water pump to cover water costs, a farm to cover food, and a reactor to cover oxygen, and probably fuel from that pesky truck you have making deliveries. Except that line of thinking is very, very wrong for about 12,000 different reasons, and we're going to talk about 3 of them. First, you're not actually losing money from your life support. You're gaining debt. That means you're not paying for it, at least not yet. Consider if you would rather have $20,000 cash and $20,000 debt, or none of either. With $20,000 of cash, you can do things like upgrade your headquarters, construct buildings, research technology, or it can track some less than scrupulous people at the black market if you need to. With no debt and no cash, you can sit there, broke, useless, dreaming of the empire you could have built if only you had some money. The lesson here is that debt is a tool to be used, not an enemy to be feared. Interest will accumulate, but it starts at a mere 2% and does not grow quickly if you keep your finances in check. All this said, the logic behind supplying your own life support simply doesn't exist this early in the game. Second, you want to make resources with value. You can always immediately buy and sell anything you want to in Offworld Trading Company, so you want to usually be in markets that have value, not simply try and cover all your expenses. It's unlikely that making life support has the most value to you at this point, as you still don't have significant upgrade resource production online. You are here to grow, not just survive, so continue to focus on that in the early game. Third reason that you do not want to dump 3 different life support buildings down early in Offworld is the most important, and that's the adjacency bonus. An adjacency bonus in Offworld is a benefit a building receives when it is adjacent to another building of the same type. So 2 steel mills next to each other, as seen here, would receive an adjacency bonus. This bonus increases the output of an affected building by 50%, effectively increasing both the output and efficiency of any structure with the bonus. These bonuses stack, so 3 steel mills in a triangle would each get 2 bonuses. However, adjacency bonuses have diminishing returns. 2 bonuses provide a 75% bonus, and this bonus will increase up to 100% at the maximum possible 6 adjacency bonuses. This concept is the single most important mechanic to understand about Offworld Trading Company, as it will drive where you place your buildings and how many markets you can afford to be in. To put it into more concrete numbers, 2 buildings with adjacency produce resources equal to 3 buildings without, while only consuming 2 buildings worth of input resources. 3 buildings instead become 5 1/4 worth of production. This means that if you try to diversify too much and cover all markets, you'll simply be outproduced and forced out of the competition by a player who's specialized and is using these bonuses, even if their 1 resource is significantly less valuable than your 3. All that's considered, you need to think carefully about how to move forward, not just try to turn red numbers to black. So what is it you actually do at HQ2? And what rules should you follow to make the most of the adjacency bonuses? Generally, robotic and expansive players can't cover their basic upgrade needs at HQ level 1, and will need to expand into additional iron, steel, and aluminum at headquarter level 2. You need to make sure to get at least that magical triangle of steel mills that every player pretty much needs to have secured to guaranteed upgrades, along with enough iron to supply them and an aluminum mine, at least one, just to cover your basic aluminum needs. Any excess claims can be sent to gather additional primary resources. Most importantly, if you have just one spare claim, do not put down a secondary building. Secondary buildings including things like chemical labs, glass furnaces, farms, anything that doesn't just pull a resource out of the ground. You should follow this rule throughout all of your Offworld Trading Company games. Secondary buildings almost always need at least one adjacency bonus to be worth the investment, so you should never put down a single secondary resource building under any circumstance. Whenever you have that spare claim, you can secure a primary resource, place an advanced building, bribe an additional claim for a pair of secondary buildings, or just leave the claim sitting there doing nothing. But do not put down just a single secondary building. Buildings are an investment of resources as well as claims. They are not free and usually not even cheap. Instead, invest those resources or money into securing additional claims so that you can make the most of what you have available. Scientists and scavengers have more options at HQ2. Scavengers already secured the carbon and aluminum they need early and should feel free to establish a strong source of income or take glass and silicon to guarantee easy upgrades for the rest of the game. Scientists only need to take an aluminum mine, and therefore have a couple of claims to secure secondary buildings like farms, reactors, or glass kilns if they're settled near some silicon. Again, both of these corporations should adhere to the pairs rule and never place a lone secondary building. Soon you'll be hitting HQ3, and your options for how to proceed will multiply. We'll start talking about those in our next episode, The Mid-Game, but for now, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.